Sister Wives, is Meri Brown living with new boyfriend? Is Sister Wives star, Meri Brown, already living with her new boyfriend? Furthermore, are they shacking up at the B&B or did she move into his home? Finally, what makes people think she has taken the leap into living with someone so soon? Keep reading for more details. Is Meri Brown living with her new boyfriend? It took Meri Brown several years to understand that she and Kody Brown's marriage was over. The two tied the knot when she was 19, in 1990, and it seemed like the perfect match. Even the wedding photos of Meri and Kody show a very happy, beaming couple. He has since said that it was a struggle from the beginning and didn't get any easier as they added more wives. This was their dream, to be in a plural marriage, as that was how Meri was raised. In 1993, Janelle Brown joined as the second wife, followed by Christine Brown Woolley in 1994. There was a lot of jealousy and adjusting to the concept of sharing Kody. Yet, over the years, the OG3 made it work until 2010, when Kody courted and ultimately married Robyn Brown. In 2014, Meri and Kody legally divorced so he and Robyn could get married so he could adopt her 3 kids from a previous marriage. Ever since, Meri and Kody's relationship went downhill. He said he didn't care if she went and found someone new, and finally, she exited and didn't look back. Now, she has been teasing a mystery man and a moving truck, so what's the deal? His name is Brandon Stone, but she refers to him as the #mysteryman. They have been in a few posts together and she genuinely seems very happy with him and he with her. While their status and possible living situation seem curious, Screen Rant noted Meri Brown is following Christine's lead and not wasting any time with the right man. There is not much information or details on the coupling other than Meri called him a Christmas miracle. Could this be it? To be fair, Meri Brown is known for her cryptic posts that leave followers scratching their heads. However, at the end of the season 19 mid-season finale, Meri made a few things clear. One was that she did not know if she really wanted to live in the B&B. That was never meant to be her home, but when she left Kody and Flagstaff, it was the best option. She also stated that she needed to find herself a man. Now, she did have a brief dalliance with Amos Andrews, but that ended nearly a year ago. This seems to be the hint of something good and fans are all for it. Now, it does need to be noted that some followers think Meri is trolling everyone with her hashtags. Additionally, a woman stepped into Meri's Christmas post about Brandon Stone and stated that they were not dating. In fact, she claimed that she was his girlfriend, so this one is a tough case to crack. Either way, it is great Meri has found her tribe and is living her best life away from Kody. In a sprawling, in-depth analysis of the concerns circulating among devoted Sister Wives fans, many have expressed a deep-seated fear that Aurora and Brianna Brown, Robyn Brown's 2 older, adopted daughters, may not be equipped to survive the complexities and challenges of the real world once the cameras stop rolling, and this anxiety is rooted in a combination of their sheltered upbringing, the highly controlled environment fostered by their mother Robyn, and the overprotective dynamics that have long defined their family structure. Despite both being legal adults, with Aurora now 22 and Brianna 19, both attending college, their behavior on recent episodes of the TLC series has raised red flags among viewers who note that these young women, instead of exhibiting the self-sufficiency and independence expected of their age group, continue to display patterns of dependence and emotional infantilization, such as asking permission from their mother to attend church or make decisions about their personal lives, which many fans argue signals a lack of critical life skills and personal agency that could jeopardize their ability to navigate independent adulthood successfully. The concern is compounded by the fact that the family dynamics on Sister Wives have long been scrutinized for exhibiting a kind of insular, almost cult-like mentality where the authority of the family patriarch and matriarch, particularly Robyn's controlling influence, has stifled the daughters' capacity to develop a sense of individuality and self-reliance, leaving them vulnerable to exploitation and ill-prepared for making decisions in a world that values autonomy and critical thinking over conformity and obedience. Indeed, social media commentary has been rife with critiques of the girls' apparent inability to function as independent adults, with fans lamenting that their emotional expressions of uncertainty, as well as their passive acceptance of Robyn's guidance, even in matters as personal as exploring new religious communities or contemplating dating outside the confines of a pre-approved set of social circles, are indicative of a deep-rooted pattern of overdependence that could ultimately leave them isolated and disadvantaged when confronted with the harsh realities of modern society, where self-determination and the capacity to make autonomous choices are crucial for success and survival in both professional and personal arenas. Reddit.com. Further intensifying these fears are revelations from recent episodes in which the girls openly expressed conflicting feelings about plural marriage and church attendance, topics that, while central to the sister-wives narrative, also underscore the broader struggle of reconciling inherited family beliefs with the individual's need for self-definition, as both Aurora and Brianna have shown a clear desire to carve out their own identities despite the overwhelming influence of a family history steeped in the practices and ideologies of plural marriage, which has long been a contentious and polarizing issue not only within their immediate family but also in the eyes of the public, who worry that their deep-seated ties to an unconventional lifestyle may leave them ill-prepared to integrate into a society that prizes individualism and often views polygamous or closely controlled family environments with skepticism and criticism. celebratingthesoaps.com. Critics have pointed to specific moments, such as when Aurora stated she did not feel a personal calling toward the practice of plural marriage, or when Brianna expressed ambivalence about living a life dictated by the rigid expectations of her family's past, that serve as stark reminders of the girls' ongoing internal conflict, suggesting that they are caught between the legacy of a highly regimented family system and the demands of a world that expects proactive self-governance, mature decision-making, and a willingness to embrace both successes and failures as integral parts of adult life, a dichotomy that has left many fans wondering if the skills necessary to manage everyday challenges, from career development to establishing healthy interpersonal relationships, have been adequately cultivated in an environment where obedience and conformity were rewarded at the expense of fostering independent thought and resilience. IMDb.com. Moreover, the emotional tone conveyed by the girls on camera, characterized by a mixture of deference, sadness, and an almost palpable sense of resignation, has led to heated discussions on various online platforms, where viewers have expressed outrage and pity in equal measure, questioning whether the nurturing provided by Robyn has, paradoxically, resulted in a kind of developmental stunting that might render Aurora and Brianna ill-equipped to confront the myriad complexities of life outside the sister-wives bubble. A concern that is not merely about the potential for personal misfortune but also reflects a broader cultural critique of how reality television and its associated lifestyles can sometimes blur the lines between genuine familial support and coercive, overprotective behavior that undermines the growth of individual autonomy, as one particularly vocal commentator lamented. The sight of these young women seeking approval for decisions that should be entirely their own is not just a reflection of personal deficiency but also a symptom of an environment that has, for far too long, prioritized the maintenance of a carefully curated public image over the genuine, messy process of growing up and learning to navigate the real world without constant supervision and intervention, a dynamic that, if left unaddressed, could lead to significant difficulties in forming healthy, independent relationships and pursuing personal ambitions later in life. Reddit.com. Some fans have even gone so far as to warn that without significant intervention or a drastic change in how they are allowed to engage with the world, Aurora and Brianna might find themselves trapped in a cycle of dependency, ultimately turning to partners or external figures who may offer the semblance of structure and decision-making authority that they never learned to generate within themselves. A prospect that not only spells personal risk but also perpetuates a troubling cycle wherein the victims of overcontrol become complicit in further entrenching similar dynamics in their own future relationships, thereby underscoring the critical importance of early autonomy and the development of independent life skills as a safeguard against the vulnerabilities of adulthood in a competitive, fast-paced society. celebratingthesoaps.com. In this context, the fans' fears are not merely about the individual shortcomings of Aurora and Brianna but also about the broader implications of a lifestyle that, while it may offer immediate comfort and a sense of belonging, ultimately fails to provide the practical tools and emotional resilience required to thrive when faced with the unpredictable challenges of a world that demands self-sufficiency, adaptability, and the courage to question long-held beliefs in order to forge a path that is authentically one's own. Indeed, as the discourse surrounding these issues intensifies both on social media and in the commentary surrounding recent episodes of Sister Wives, it has become increasingly clear that the struggle for autonomy in the face of ingrained familial and cultural expectations is a narrative that resonates far beyond the confines of the show, touching on universal themes of identity, freedom, and the often painful process of growing up, and in this sense, the situation of Aurora and Brianna serves as a microcosm of a much larger societal challenge, namely, how to balance the warmth and security of close-knit family bonds with the imperative of cultivating the independent skills and competence necessary to succeed in a world that is as unforgiving as it is diverse, a challenge that many young adults around the globe face in one form or another, but which is made particularly acute in the case of those raised in environments that prioritize collective identity over personal growth, a predicament that fans of the show hope will be addressed before it leads to long-term consequences for these two young women whose futures, in the eyes of many, hang in a delicate balance between the legacy of a controversial family system and the daunting, uncharted territory of life beyond its protective yet constricting walls. People.com. Ultimately, while some supporters of the family argue that the strong bonds and unwavering support provided by such an environment can serve as a powerful foundation for resilience, the prevailing sentiment among critics remains that true survival in the real world requires more than just a safety net. It demands the ability to make decisions independently, to confront failures without constant guidance, and to build a life based on one's own values and experiences rather than those imposed by an overbearing family structure. And it is this gap between the skills these young women have acquired and the demands of modern adulthood that fuels the ongoing debate among fans, who are left to wonder whether Aurora and Brianna will ultimately be able to break free from the confines of their past and develop the full spectrum of competencies necessary to not just survive, but thrive in a world that values independence, critical thinking, and self-determination above all else. Reflecting on a tumultuous journey marked by decades of emotional complexity, public scrutiny, and the weight of an unconventional lifestyle, Meri Brown's decision in 2024 to embrace a change of heart stands out as a transformative milestone in her life, a turning point that not only signified her liberation from the long shadows of her 32-year marriage to Kody Brown but also marked the beginning of an empowered chapter defined by self-discovery, independence, and renewed hope for the future. For decades, Meri endured the challenges of a plural marriage that was as much a public spectacle as it was an intricate web of personal sacrifice and compromise. From the early days of their union in 1990 through years of navigating the emotional roller coaster that polygamy often entails, Meri's life was a series of highs and lows, a complex tapestry woven with threads of loyalty, heartache, and the constant battle to maintain her identity amid a system that prized collective conformity over individual fulfillment. In 2024, after years of living in a state of limbo, a limbo where the echoes of past promises, unfulfilled expectations, and the constant comparisons to Kody's other wives loomed large, Meri reached a moment of clarity. She realized that clinging to a relationship that had long ceased to nurture her spirit was no longer an option, and that the most courageous act she could undertake was to allow herself to truly feel, to reassess her values, and to redefine her identity independent of the institution of marriage that had once dictated her every move. This change of heart was not born out of sudden epiphany but was rather the culmination of countless moments of introspection, heart-to-heart conversations, and the slow but steady recognition that her worth was not tied to the approval or validation of a man who had, for too long, relegated her contributions to the background while publicly championing the ideals of a polygamous lifestyle that ultimately left her isolated and emotionally drained. Instead of allowing the weight of her past to dictate her future, Meri chose to channel her pain into a powerful narrative of resilience, one that saw her stepping away from the toxic dynamics of her former life, seeking closure not only through a legal divorce that had been finalized years ago but also through a symbolic release from the spiritual bonds enforced by their church, the Apostolic United Brethren, where the idea of eternal marriage was supposed to be sacrosanct. In taking this decisive step, Meri acknowledged that while the legalities of their separation had been settled in 2014, the emotional and spiritual ties that once bound them together had continued to hold her captive, leaving her feeling trapped in a cycle of unspoken grief and unfulfilled longing for a relationship that was no longer viable. Her decision to pursue an official release from the covenant, a process that many in her community equate with a divorce in the truest sense, was not merely about severing ties with Kody but was, more importantly, an act of reclaiming her autonomy and rewriting her personal narrative. This move allowed her to transition from a state of passive acceptance of the status quo into one of proactive determination, where every decision henceforth would be guided by her own needs and aspirations rather than by the dictates of a relationship that had long since lost its mutuality. The journey toward this change of heart was deeply personal and fraught with emotional challenges. It meant confronting the painful memories of a marriage in which she had often felt undervalued, and it required her to confront the painful realization that the woman she once was, defined by sacrifice, loyalty, and a willingness to endure hardship for the sake of family unity, no longer represented the future she envisioned for herself. Instead, Meri embraced the idea that self-love, self-respect, and the courage to pursue one's own dreams were far more important than adhering to a role that had been imposed on her for decades. In doing so, she not only set an inspiring example for other women in similar situations but also redefined what it means to be resilient in the face of overwhelming odds. Her new outlook was evident in every aspect of her life, from her renewed focus on her burgeoning bed and breakfast business, which symbolized her commitment to building something of her own, to the way she began to engage with life on her own terms, unburdened by the expectations of a past that no longer served her. By choosing to let go of the remnants of a painful history and embracing the promise of a future where she could be truly independent, Meri not only alleviated the emotional toll of years spent in a stifling environment but also unlocked a newfound sense of freedom that has allowed her to reimagine her place in the world. This change of heart, as many fans and observers have noted on social media and in interviews, is perhaps her best decision yet, one that has not only brought her closer to herself but has also set the stage for a more authentic and fulfilling life, free from the constraints of a relationship that had long been a source of both comfort and profound sorrow. The significance of this decision is further underscored by the public's response, with many fans expressing admiration for her bravery in finally choosing to prioritize her own well-being over the toxic entanglements of her past, while others have highlighted the broader cultural implications of her journey, suggesting that her story is a powerful reminder of the importance of self-determination in a world that often forces individuals to sacrifice their own happiness for the sake of tradition or societal expectation. Indeed, in the landscape of reality television where every personal decision is amplified and scrutinized, Meri Brown's choice to have a change of heart in 2024 stands as a testament to the enduring power of personal growth and the possibility of transformation even after decades of hardship. It is a narrative filled with the kind of raw emotion and honest introspection that resonates deeply with viewers who may be grappling with their own challenges in relationships, self-identity, or the quest for autonomy. As Meri continues to navigate her post-marriage life, whether through her entrepreneurial ventures, her evolving relationships, or simply the daily practice of putting herself first, her decision in 2024 serves as both a symbol of hope and a call to action for anyone who has ever felt trapped by circumstance. In the end, the strength to change one's heart, to let go of what once was, and to embrace the uncertainties of a new beginning is perhaps the greatest lesson of all, a lesson that Meri Brown has embraced fully, demonstrating that sometimes the best decision is not found in clinging to the familiar, but in daring to imagine a future defined solely by one's own dreams and desires. This profound shift in perspective, which many have hailed as her finest decision, not only marks the end of an era but also heralds the dawn of a life where true freedom and happiness are not just possible but inevitable, a sentiment that continues to inspire and uplift her fans as she moves forward on her remarkable journey towards self-actualization and personal fulfillment.